Captain Rachel Miller stood at the viewing window of the U.S. Prometheus, watching the stars streak by in weird patterns. The quantum drive made normal space travel look strange, bending light in ways that still made her blink in surprise. After 15 years in space, she thought she had seen everything. But this ship, humanity's first Entangled-Core Battleship, kept proving her wrong. "Captain, the core readings are stable," reported Dr. Alan Foster from his station. His gray hair looked messy, as usual. He hadn't slept much since they left Earth's orbit. As the man who invented the ship's quantum core, he treated it like his own child. Rachel nodded, remembering the day 5 years ago, when Foster had burst into the Space Navy's main office. He had been yelling about a breakthrough in quantum physics that would change everything. Most people had thought he was crazy, but he had been right. The Prometheus was proof of that. It was bigger than any ship humans had built before, nearly 2 miles long. Its black hull absorbed light in strange ways, making it look like a hole in space. But the really special part was inside, the quantum core that gave the ship its power. "Run the morning checks again," Rachel ordered, walking to the center of the bridge. Her footsteps echoed on the metal floor. Around her, 20 crew members worked at their stations, each watching different parts of the massive ship. "Yes, Captain," said Foster, his fingers moving quickly over his screen. "The entanglement field is at 98% strength. Better than yesterday." Rachel allowed herself a small smile. The quantum core worked by linking millions of particles together in ways that broke the normal rules of physics. It gave them more power than any normal engine could make. It also let them build weapons that could hit targets instantly, no matter how far away they were. The ship's AI displayed a hologram in the middle of the bridge, showing the Prometheus in blue light. Everything looked good, but Rachel had learned to always check twice. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Steve Morgan from the sensor station, "I'm picking up some weird readings from the edge of our range." Rachel walked over to his station, her face serious again. "Show me." The screen lit up with data that made her frown. Something big was moving out there, but it wasn't showing up right on their sensors. Just then, Dr. Foster's voice shook with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. The quantum core, it's reacting to something." Rachel turned to look at the core readings. The numbers were jumping around in ways she'd never seen before. The hologram in the center of the bridge flickered and changed color. "All stations, yellow alert," she ordered. The bridge lights dimmed slightly, and a soft alarm started beeping. "Foster, talk to me. What's happening to my ship?" The scientist stared at his readings with wide eyes. "The quantum field, it's detecting other quantum signatures, but they're not human." He looked up at her, his face pale. "Captain, I think we just proved we're not alone out here." Rachel felt her heart beat faster, but kept her voice calm. "How many?" "At least 7 large objects," reported Morgan. "They're using some kind of drive we've never seen before. But—" he paused, checking his readings again. "But they're similar to our quantum core somehow." Rachel walked back to the viewing window, her mind racing. The Prometheus was supposed to be a test ship, meant to prove the new technology worked. Instead, they might have just found humanity's first proof of alien life. And based on these readings, these aliens had their own version of quantum technology. "Send a message to Earth Command," she ordered. "Priority 1. Then get me everything we can learn about those ships. If they're friendly, we'll make history with first contact. If they're not—" She looked at the weapons station, where the quantum cannons waited, untested but ready. "If they're not, we'll show them why humans survived every challenge Earth could throw at us." The bridge crew moved with new energy, each person knowing they might be about to make history, or have to fight humanity's first space battle. Rachel Miller watched the strange sensor readings and made a silent promise. No matter what came next, she would make sure humanity's first quantum battleship lived up to its name, Prometheus, who gave fire to humans. Today that fire might light up the stars themselves. Lieutenant David Cooper had never seen such strange readings on his sensor screens. The unknown ships moved in ways that made his head hurt just watching them. They seemed to jump from place to place without crossing the space in between. "Captain Miller," he called out, "the ships are getting closer. I can get better readings now." He adjusted his screens, trying to make sense of what he saw. They're huge. Each one is at least 3 times bigger than the Prometheus. The bridge of the U.S. Prometheus was quiet except for the soft beeping of machines. Everyone watched as the hologram in the center showed 7 massive shapes moving toward them. The ships looked like giant black diamonds, their surfaces so dark they seemed to eat light. "Emma, any response to our greeting message?" Captain Miller asked, her voice steady despite the tension. Communications Officer Emma Wright shook her head. Her blonde hair was tied back tight, her face lit by the blue glow of her screen. "Nothing yet, Captain." "Wait." She sat up straighter. "We're getting something now." A harsh sound filled the bridge. It wasn't like any language anyone had heard before. It sounded like rocks being crushed mixed with high-pitched whistles. "Running it through the translation computer," Emma said, her fingers moving fast. "Give me a minute." The alien ships kept coming closer. They were now close enough to see with the naked eye through the bridge windows. Their black surfaces seemed to ripple like water in the starlight. "Translation coming through," Emma announced. Her face went pale as she read. "Captain, you need to hear this." A new voice came through the speakers, flat and computer-generated, but the message was clear. "Primitive species detected. Your quantum technology is flawed. Surrender your ships and worlds to the Jurac Empire or face immediate destruction. You have 10 minutes to comply." Captain Miller's jaw tightened. "Send them our response. This is Captain Rachel Miller of the Earth ship Prometheus. We do not surrender to threats. We offer peaceful contact or nothing at all." "Message sent," Emma reported. "They're responding already." The alien voice came back. "Foolish humans, your defiance will be your last mistake." Multiple weapon systems activating on all enemy ships. David shouted from his sensor station. "They're powering up something big." Captain Miller didn't hesitate. "All hands, battle stations. Get us behind that gas giant. Now." The Prometheus's engines roared to life. The massive ship turned faster than anything its size should be able to move, racing toward the huge purple gas giant nearby. Behind them, space lit up with energy beams from the alien ships. "Quantum shields holding," reported Chief Engineer Paul Martinez over the comm. "But those hits were just warnings, Captain. They're playing with us." The Prometheus slipped behind the gas giant, using its massive storms and magnetic field to hide. On the bridge, Captain Miller studied the tactical display. "David, I need everything you can tell me about their ships," she ordered. "Emma, keep monitoring their communications. I want to know the second they say anything. Paul, get the quantum weapons ready. We might not have a choice about using them." David worked his sensors, scanning the alien ships through the cover of the gas giant. "Their quantum signatures are different from ours, Captain. They're using some kind of controlled quantum chaos. It's like they're ripping holes in space itself." "Can we use that against them?" Miller asked. "Maybe," David replied, still studying the data. "Their tech is more advanced, but it's also more unstable. If we hit them with our quantum weapons, it might cause their systems to overload." Captain Miller looked out at the swirling storms of the gas giant that hid them. Somewhere on the other side, 7 alien ships waited to destroy humanity's greatest achievement. But they didn't know everything about the Prometheus. They didn't know what humans could do when pushed into a corner. "They think we're primitive," she said quietly. "They think we'll give up easily." She turned to face her crew, her eyes hard with determination. "Let's show them how wrong they are. Prepare the quantum cascade weapon. We're not running from this fight." The crew nodded, their faces showing a mix of fear and determination. They all knew what was at stake. If they failed here, Earth would be next. The Zurich Empire would come for their homes, their families, everything they loved. Behind the gas giant, the U.S. Prometheus prepared for war. Humanity's first space battle was about to begin, and no one knew if they would survive it. Captain Rachel Miller walked quickly through the halls of the Prometheus, heading to the engine room. Crew members rushed past her, all hurrying to their battle stations. The red emergency lights made everything look strange and dangerous. "Talk to me, Paul," she said as she entered the massive engine room. Chief Engineer Paul Martinez stood next to the quantum core, which glowed with a blue light that seemed to move in impossible ways. "The core is stable, Captain," Paul said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "But we've never fired the main weapon before. I can't promise what will happen." The quantum core pulsed in its clear container, filling the room with shifting shadows. Dr. Alan Foster stood nearby, checking readings on 3 different screens. "The weapon should work," Foster said, but his voice shook a little. "The math is solid." "But Captain," he looked up at her with worried eyes, "the amount of power we're talking about, it could tear apart their ships at the quantum level, maybe even the crews inside them." Rachel felt the weight of command press down on her shoulders. 7 alien ships waited out there, ready to destroy them. But using a weapon this powerful, that was something else entirely. First Officer Linda Hayes stepped forward. She had followed Rachel to the engine room. "Captain, we need to think about this," she said quietly. "If we use this weapon, we're not just fighting a battle. We're showing the galaxy that humans are willing to use quantum weapons. Are we ready for what that means?" Before Rachel could answer, the ship shook. Another warning shot from the aliens had hit their shields. "Quantum shields at 85% and dropping," called out Brian Wilson from the tactical station over the comm. "Captain, they're moving to surround the gas giant. We'll lose our cover soon." Rachel looked at the quantum core, then at her crew. She saw fear in their eyes, but also trust. They would follow her orders, whatever she decided. "Paul, what's the minimum power we can use for the weapon?" she asked. The engineer checked his calculations quickly. "We could reduce it to 30% power. It would still hit them hard, but maybe not destroy them completely." "Do it," Rachel ordered. "Linda, you're right. We need to think about the future. But first we need to have a future." She turned to Foster. "Doctor, help Paul set up the weapon. We need to show them we're strong, but we're not monsters." Linda nodded slowly. "I understand, Captain, and I'm with you." Rachel pressed the comm button on the wall. "Bridge, this is the captain. Status report." "They've spread out into attack formation," Brian reported. 7 ships arranged in a half circle. They're preparing for something big. "Emma, any more messages from them?" "No, Captain," Emma's voice came through. "Just more demands for surrender." Rachel straightened her uniform. "Okay, people, listen up. Humanity never wanted this fight. But we're going to finish it." She looked each crew member in the eye. "Paul, Linda, get back to your stations. Foster, stay with the core. It's time to show the Zurich what humans can do." As her officers hurried to their posts, Rachel took one last look at the quantum core. Its blue light seemed brighter now, almost eager. 5 years ago, they had built this ship to prove humans could master quantum technology. Now they would use it to prove humans deserve their place among the stars. "All hands," she said into the ship-wide comm. "This is the captain. In a few minutes, we're going to face an enemy that thinks we're primitive and weak. They want us to surrender without a fight." She paused, letting her words sink in. "But that's not what humans do. We face our challenges head-on. We adapt. We overcome. And today, we're going to show these aliens exactly what humanity is capable of." The crew's response came as a cheer that echoed through the whole ship. Rachel smiled grimly and headed back to the bridge. Behind her, the quantum core pulsed with power, ready for its first real test. The U.S. Prometheus was about to make history, one way or another. Rachel just hoped she was making the right choice for humanity's first step onto the galactic stage. The U.S. Prometheus rose from behind the gas giant like a dark shadow. Its black hull reflected no light, making it look like a hole in space. Inside, the crew held their breath as they faced the 7 massive alien ships. Dr. Karen Roberts watched the quantum core readings carefully. Core stability at 95%, Captain, she reported from her station. All systems ready. Captain Miller stood in the center of the bridge, her face lit by the blue glow of the hologram showing their tactical position. Send one last message, Emma. Tell them this is their final chance to back down. Emma Wright sent the message. The response came back almost instantly. More sounds like crushing rocks and whistles, translated by the computer. Your primitive species dares to threaten the Shrek. Your death will serve as a warning to others. Well, we tried, Rachel said quietly. Then louder. Shields to maximum power. Bring us about to face their main fleet. The Prometheus turned gracefully, its quantum engines humming with power. The alien ships reacted instantly, their weapons charging with a strange purple light. Multiple energy spikes. David Cooper called from his sensor station. They're targeting our engines. The first shots from the alien ships lit up space like purple lightning. They struck the Prometheus's quantum shields, making them glow with blue fire. Shield holding. Paul Martinez's voice came over the comm. The quantum field is actually getting stronger. It's learning from their attacks. Rachel allowed herself a small smile. This was what they had hoped for. The quantum shields were working exactly as designed. Status of the main weapon. Ready on your command, Brian Wilson reported from Tactical. Target locked on their flagship. The alien ships kept firing, their attacks getting stronger. The Prometheus shook with each hit, but its shields held firm. The quantum core's power actually grew with each attack, absorbing the enemy's energy. Captain, Dr. Roberts called out suddenly. The core is doing something strange. It's resonating with their weapons. Rachel moved to her station, watching the readings. The quantum core was pulsing faster now. Its blue light almost white. What does it mean? Their quantum technology. It's compatible with ours somehow, Roberts explained quickly. When their weapons hit our shields, the energies sync up. We could use that. More alien shots rocked the ship. Shields at 60%, Paul reported. We need to do something soon, Captain. Rachel made her decision. Dr. Roberts, can you tune our weapon to match their quantum frequency? Yes. Give me 30 seconds. The bridge shook again as another barrage hit them. Through the viewing window, Rachel could see the alien ships moving closer, probably thinking they had the Prometheus trapped. Done. Roberts called out. Weapon is tuned to their frequency. Tactical. Target their flagship, Rachel ordered. Fire when ready. Brian Wilson's fingers flew over his console. Weapon locked. Firing. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then a beam of pure white light shot from the Prometheus. It moved in ways that hurt the eyes to watch, seeming to bend space itself. The beam hit the alien flagship. At first, nothing happened. Then the massive ship's purple lights started flickering. Its surface began to ripple like water. Their quantum field is collapsing, David shouted from sensors. The resonance is spreading to their other ships. Through the viewing window, they watched as the alien ships began to lose power. Their weapons went dark. Their engines failed. The flagship's surface kept rippling, like it was trying to be in 2 places at once. What's happening to them? Rachel asked. Dr. Roberts checked her readings. Their quantum technology is more unstable than ours. When our weapon matched their frequency, it caused a cascade failure. Their systems are tearing themselves apart. The alien ships started to drift, their lights going out one by one. The flagship sent out one last message before its communications failed. Impossible. How did primitives master quantum resonance? Rachel watched as the once mighty alien fleet floated helplessly in space. They hadn't destroyed the ships, but they had completely disabled them. Humanity's first space battle was over. Send a message to Earth Command, she ordered Emma. Tell them. She paused, looking at her crew's proud faces. Tell them the test was successful, and we've made first contact. The bridge crew cheered as Emma sent the message. They had faced humanity's first alien threat and won. The Prometheus had proved itself and shown the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. The disabled Jurek ships drifted in space like dark, lifeless stones. But aboard the U.S. Prometheus, things were far from quiet. Security Chief John Reynolds rushed through the corridors, leading his damage control teams. "Keep those power lines stable," he shouted, pointing to a section where blue energy leaked from a conduit. "We don't know how long this quiet will last." On the bridge, Captain Rachel Miller watched the main screen carefully. The alien ships might be powerless, but she hadn't survived 15 years in space by being careless. "Dr. Roberts, what's happening to their ships?" she asked. Karen Roberts studied her readings, her face lit by the glow of multiple screens. "Their quantum fields are still collapsing. It's like, imagine throwing a rock into a pond. Our weapon was the rock, and the ripples are still spreading through their systems." Suddenly, alerts blared across the bridge. "Captain," David Cooper called from his sensor station. "The alien flagship, it's doing something." They all watched as purple light began to pulse from the largest alien ship. Its surface stopped rippling and began to stabilize. "They're trying to restart their quantum core," Dr. Roberts said, her voice tense. "They're using some kind of backup system." Paul Martinez's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, our own core is acting strange. The resonance effect, it's getting stronger." The Prometheus shuddered. Blue light flashed through the corridors as the quantum core reacted to the alien ship's revival. In the engine room, Foster and Martinez worked frantically to keep things stable. "Their quantum field is affecting ours," Foster reported. "The frequencies are fighting each other." Rachel gripped her chair as the ship shook harder. "Options. We could shut down our core," Roberts suggested. "Break the connection." "No," Rachel said firmly. "We show any weakness now, they'll destroy us. We need another way." John Reynolds' voice came over the comm. "Captain, we've got power surges on all decks. Crews are containing them, but we can't take much more." The alien flagship was glowing brighter now. Its weapons started to power up again, purple energy building along its surface. "They're preparing to fire," David shouted. Rachel stood up. "Dr. Roberts, you said their quantum technology is unstable. What if we increase power to our core? Push the resonance even higher?" Roberts' eyes widened. "That could work. Overload their systems completely. But Captain, the strain on our ship—" "Better than letting them shoot us," Rachel said. "Do it." Roberts and Foster worked together, pushing more power into the quantum core. The Prometheus's hull creaked as energy surged through it. Blue light pulsed from every window. The alien flagship fired. A beam of purple energy shot toward them. But when it hit their shields, something strange happened. The blue and purple energies mixed, creating a swirling vortex of light between the ships. "The resonance is at maximum," Foster called out. "Their energy is feeding back into their own systems." Through the viewing window, they watched as the feedback loop hit the alien ship. Purple light exploded from its hull, then disappeared completely. The massive ship went dark again, this time for good. The other alien ships, seeing their flagship defeated twice, began sending out distress signals. Their messages were clear. They were surrendering. "Power levels dropping back to normal," Roberts reported, relief in her voice. "The resonance effect is fading." Rachel let out a breath she hadn't known she was holding. "Damage report." John Reynolds responded. "Minor damage on all decks, Captain. Nothing we can't fix." The crews performed perfectly. "Good work, everyone," Rachel said. She looked at the defeated alien ships on her screen. "Emma, send a message to the remaining ships. Tell them we'll provide assistance if they need it." Really? Linda Hayes asked, after they tried to destroy us. Rachel nodded. We proved we can fight. Now let's prove we can be merciful too. That's also human strength. As the message was sent, Rachel looked out at the stars. The Prometheus had just won humanity's first space battle. But more importantly, they had won it their way, using brains over brute force, and showing both power and mercy. Send another message to Earth, she ordered. Tell them to prepare for guests. I think it's time we had some real talks with our new neighbors. 3 days after the battle, Captain Rachel Miller sat in her quarters reading reports from across space. The news of what the Prometheus had done was spreading fast. Captain, to the bridge. Emma Wright's voice came over the comm. We're picking up some interesting signals. Rachel walked onto the bridge, where her crew was busy monitoring the aftermath of their victory. The defeated Jurek ships still floated nearby, now under guard while repair teams helped their crews. What have you got, Emma? Rachel asked. The communications officer looked excited. Messages from at least 12 different alien species, Captain. They all want to talk to us. She paused, reading more. Some of them have been watching the Jurek for years, afraid to stand up to them. Now they're calling us liberators. David Cooper spoke up from his sensor station. That's not all, Captain. Look at this. He put an image on the main screen. It showed a Jurek warship running away from a small human cargo ship. They're scared of us now. Even our normal ships are making them nervous. Rachel shook her head. Fear wasn't what we wanted. Maybe not, Linda Hayes said, standing beside her. But respect. That we earned. Dr. Alan Foster hurried onto the bridge, holding a datapad. His gray hair was messy as usual, but his eyes were bright with excitement. Captain, you need to see this, he said. The Jurek prisoners have been talking to our engineers. Their quantum technology. It's old. They found it in ruins on a dead world. They never fully understood how it worked. But we created ours from scratch, Rachel said, understanding. That's why ours is more stable. Exactly, Foster grinned. We didn't just beat them. We understand this technology better than they do. Some of their scientists want to learn from us. Rachel walked to the viewing window. The Jurek ships looked different now. Not scary anymore, just sad. Their crews had thought they were the strongest force in space. Now they knew better. Message from Earth Command, Emma announced. The Jurek Empire is falling apart. Seems they ruled by fear. And now, she smiled. Now everyone knows they're not the strongest anymore. More ships detected, David called out. But his voice was calm. 3 vessels approaching. They're broadcasting friendly signals. He paused. Captain, they're diplomats. From the Galactic Council. Rachel raised her eyebrows. The what? According to their message, Emma read, they represent a group of peaceful species. They'd been watching Earth for a while, but weren't sure if we were ready to join them. She looked up with a grin. They think we're ready now. The bridge crew shared excited looks. First contact had turned into first battle, and now it was turning into first diplomatic relations. Captain Paul Martin is called over the comm from engineering. The quantum core is fully stable again. And you know what? After that resonance with the Jurek ships, it's actually working better than before. Like it learned from the experience. Just like us, Rachel said quietly. John Reynolds entered the bridge, looking pleased. Repair teams report the Jurek crews are cooperative, Captain. They keep asking questions about our technology, our training, our ways of thinking. He shrugged. I think we impressed them. Rachel looked at her crew. Humans who had faced aliens in battle and won, but stayed kind afterward. Who had taken advanced technology and made it better. Who had turned enemies into students and caught the attention of a galactic community. Send a message to the diplomats, she ordered Emma. Tell them we look forward to meeting them. And send one to Earth too. She smiled. Tell them the Prometheus didn't just test our technology. It tested humanity itself. She looked out at the stars, and we passed. Linda stepped up beside her. What do you think happens next? Rachel watched as the diplomatic ships grew closer, their designs unlike anything humans had seen before. Behind them, the damaged Jurac ships were slowly coming back to life, but their crews were different now, humbled, curious, maybe even friendly. Next, Rachel said, we do what humans have always done. We learn. We grow. We make friends when we can and stand strong when we must. She straightened her uniform. And we show the galaxy that humanity is ready for whatever comes next. Her crew nodded, proud and ready. The Prometheus had changed everything. Now it was time to see what those changes would bring. 1 month after the battle, the U.S. Prometheus sailed into Earth orbit. Its black hull shone in the sunlight, showing signs of repairs but still proud and strong. Behind it came an amazing sight. Ships from 5 different alien species, all there to meet with Earth's leaders. Captain Rachel Miller stood on the observation deck, watching her home planet grow larger. Dr. Alan Foster joined her, looking tired but happy. Hard to believe it's only been a month, he said. Everything's so different now. Rachel nodded. Earth had changed a lot since they left. The news of alien life, the battle, and now the diplomatic meetings had changed how humans saw themselves. People looked at the stars differently now, with hope instead of fear. Captain to the bridge, Emma Wright's voice called over the comm. Earth Defense Command wants to talk to you. In her captain's chair, Rachel took the call. A hologram appeared showing Admiral Bill Carter, his face serious but proud. Captain Miller, he said, your mission changed everything. The Jurac Empire has officially surrendered. Half their worlds have declared independence, and it's all because of what the Prometheus did. We got lucky, sir, Rachel said modestly. No, the Admiral shook his head. You showed what humanity can do. And now, he smiled. Well, why don't you look at your sensor readings? David Cooper gasped at his station. Captain, I'm picking up quantum core signatures. Hundreds of them. Rachel rushed to look at his screen. All around Earth, quantum cores were activating. They had been hidden underground, underwater, waiting for this moment. Did you think the Prometheus was our only quantum ship? Admiral Carter asked. We built more while you were gone. A whole fleet. We just needed to know they would work. Through the viewing window, Rachel watched as ships rose from Earth's oceans and descended from hidden bases in orbit. They looked like the Prometheus but smaller, each one powered by its own quantum core. Earth Defense Fleet, Admiral Carter announced proudly, ready to protect humanity and help our new allies. He looked at Rachel. And we want you to lead them. Before Rachel could answer, Emma called out from her station. Captain, message from the Galactic Council ships. They say, she paused, surprised. They say they want to make Earth the new center for quantum research. They think we understand it better than anyone. Dr. Foster laughed. Of course we do. We built it ourselves instead of just copying old technology. Linda Hayes walked onto the bridge, holding a datapad. It gets better. The Jurac scientists we helped. They're asking to study at Earth universities. They want to learn our way of thinking. John Reynolds added from his security station, and 3 more species have asked for protection from what's left of the Jurac Empire. They want Earth ships to guard their worlds. Rachel looked at her crew, humans who had faced the unknown and succeeded, who had fought when they needed to but showed kindness when they could. She felt proud of them, and of humanity. Admiral, she said to the hologram, tell Earth Defense Command we accept. The Prometheus will lead the fleet. She smiled, but not just for defense. There's a whole galaxy out there waiting to meet us. The Admiral nodded. Agreed. Your first mission will be to help our new allies, then explore further out. See what else is waiting for us. As the hologram faded, Rachel turned to her crew. What do you think? Ready for another adventure? They all nodded, excited to see what would come next. Through the window, Earth's new quantum fleet gathered in formation. their black hulls shining like stars. "Humans really did it," Foster said softly. "We took our place among the stars." "No," Rachel corrected him. "We earned our place. And now." She looked at the alien ships waiting peacefully nearby, at the fleet of Earth ships ready to explore, at her crew eager to see what was next. "Now we show the galaxy what humanity can really do." The Prometheus led the fleet away from Earth, carrying humanity's hopes and dreams with it. Behind them, their home world was safer than ever. Ahead of them lay endless possibilities. They had faced their first alien challenge and won. Now it was time to see what other wonders, or challenges, the universe held. The age of quantum ships had begun, and humanity was ready.